Good evening. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and today it's March 27th. It's just a couple minutes before 7 o'clock. It's a Friday, and I'm here with the Real Money Doctor's daily recap of events that will help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, life, and your retirement. So today, as has been in the last week or two, health again is the big issue. That's not going to go away for a while. Last week, the United States was the third largest country, had the third number of cases in the world behind Italy and China. China was first, then it was Italy. Well, yesterday, the U.S. took the number one spot, sadly to say. Right now, today, we're over 101,000 cases, over 100,001 cases. That's only what they've tested so far. So far, there's over 1,500 deaths, 1,581. When you look at things, Italy had 9,000 deaths. China had a little bit less than that. But what happened there in China and in Italy gives you some good indication of what is happening here. What's happening in Italy is happening in New York City right now, New York State right now. New York State is the epicenter of the 101,000 cases already diagnosed. New York State has over 44,000 of those cases. And of the 1,500 that are dead, New York State has 519 of those deaths. New York City has 366 of those. And New Jersey is just number two at over 8,000 cases right now and 100 deaths. Now, what's happening in New York is starting to happen in the rest of the country. It's going to continue to move. Right now, it's moving through the Northeast. Right now, it looks as though it's slowed down just a little bit. It doesn't double every day or every 2 days. It looks like it's doubling every 4 days, basically, in New York. But it's still doubling. It's still doubling, basically every 4 days. It's slowed down, but the curve is just straight up. It's just straight up. There's no doubts about that. Now, what you see happening in New York is about to happen in other places in a week, 2, 3 weeks. I don't know how long it's going to happen, though. Right now, Detroit and Chicago are probably going to be the next big ones to have this particular problem. Healthcare people on the front line are seriously at risk. Right now in the Boston area, 160 healthcare people in the Boston area have tested positive for COVID-19 right now. When healthcare workers go home, if they put in an absolutely horrendous shift, they can't self-isolate. A healthcare worker, by the nature of their job, is exposed every minute of every shift that they do. Most of the shifts were 8-hour shifts. Some of them are 12-hour shifts at this point in time. Some of them are doing doubles, 8-hour shifts. The problem is that right now, nurses are dying. Hospital staff are dying. They need these N95 masks. An N95 mask is a very specialized mask. It's not a surgical mask. A surgical mask, the type you see that the surgeons use, that you'll see in the dentist's office, that you see people making and donating to hospitals, they're nice, but they're there to stop large splatters and large particles coming in. The N95 mask is specifically designed, the material itself is designed, and it's engineered to stop viruses as small as 0.3 microns. So that's stopping almost everything. Almost everything. And the masks are designed so that they would go tightly around the face so nothing could really go in through the sides of it. When I was a respiratory therapist, they gave me shit constantly because of the beard. Said I was going to risk getting tuberculosis. But that's a whole different situation. Anyway, the masks are very specialized masks. You can't make an N95 mask. It has to be manufactured. All these things that people are sewing, those are great for just quick contacts, but they weren't meant to, and they will not stop the viruses from going through. Now, the problem is nurses, doctors are really short on supplies. They are getting basically one mask for the week, and it's told when they go on their shift, they get one set of PPE, protective equipment, and they're told to keep it for the entire shift, to keep it on for the entire shift. If you're a healthcare worker, you have been trained for years. Okay? Disposable stuff in the trash immediately. You come out of a patient's room, it's gone. You're washing your hands constantly. Constantly. Okay? The same way that you would breathe, it takes you no effort. You don't even think about breathing. A well-trained healthcare worker can gown, mask, treat the patient, take the gown and mask off, wash their hands without thinking. It's second nature. They've been doing it that long. They've practiced it that well. It's an art form to learn how to wash your hands the way they do in a hospital. These people are having problems because they know that reusing disposable equipment is just not right. It's not healthy. It's not safe. It's not safe for the patients, and it's not safe for themselves. Now, New York City getting slammed right now, without a doubt in the world. The EMS people did over 6,500 calls yesterday. Over 6,500 calls. That basically doubled what they did before. Okay. There are over 350 New York cops right now that tested positive. Over 250 firefighters tested positive. The nurses are wearing trash bags because they don't even have the PPEs at this point in time. Elmhurst Hospital okay, in Queens is at 125% of its capacity at this point in time. 125% of its capacity. Their ICU is at 300% capacity. Now, if you're sitting in an office somewhere, you don't know exactly what that means. If you're in the front lines and you're doing this, your head is spinning. You're going from one sick patient to the next sick patient, and there's no breather in between. There's very little time to think. Quite happily, these people are exceptionally well trained, and they can do this. But it's taking a really, really big toll on them. Normal people don't see this type of sickness and death on a constant basis. It affects people. It affects healthcare people. There are going to be some serious mental health issues coming out of this, the same way they were out of Katrina. Okay. Now, Bellevue Hospital itself in New York, they have a makeshift morgue. They've got a tent. They've got refrigerated trucks backed up there. Okay. More and more states and cities have more stay-at-home orders. Again, to varying degrees to stay at home. Right now, again, 48% of the population is likely to get infected at some point in time. Mayor de Blasio of New York is assuming that within the next few weeks before this is all over, okay, it won't be over a couple of weeks, but he assumes the next week or two that half of the city of New York is going to be infected. Out of that number, generally 2% require hospitalization. Now, people age 18 to 49, of all the reported cases, 53% of those people are age 18 to 49. Of all the reported cases, people age 18 to 49 are 53% of the reported cases. This is not just an old folk thing. Again, one person in Louisiana was 17, they died. Now, people with actual first-hand knowledge of the facts, okay, have agreed that the Defense Production Act should be put into place. They've been complaining that it hasn't been put into place for over a week now. The president today finally agreed to put the Defense Production Act into place. However, it was only for GM to make ventilators. So that's a good start without a doubt in the world. However, there's still a lot more things that need to get done. Okay. States are currently competing against each other and against FEMA for supplies and ventilators, along with everybody else in the world trying to track these things down. Okay. When you have a nationalized support response, it's a much better situation. The president has been continuing to push the responsibilities off to the states. The states can only do so much. A federal disaster needs a federal response, a federal coordinated response. Just like in Hurricane Sandy and in Katrina and 9/11, the federal government had to come in, step in, organize supplies, gather supplies, and divvy out the supplies to where they were actually needed. Same thing needs to happen now. Okay? Once this act is implemented, it's still going to need time for GM to retool from what they did to making ventilators. The sounds of things are that in 100 days they're going to have 30,000 ventilators. Well, that's great for 100 days out from now. That's not going to help New York City too much right now, today, or next week. Now, the president has sent 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 ventilators at least to New York. For some reason, they may have been lost in transit or put someplace, and New York State may not have even known they were there. Okay, so that coordination needs to get much, much more controlled. The testing is grossly inadequate at this point in time. You're seeing these cases skyrocket because some testing has been improving, but it's still not there. Once the testing is improved considerably, you're going to see a whole lot more cases. And you can't judge the extent of the problem until you know what you're dealing with. We know there's a virus. We know it's contagious. We know there's a 14-day incubation period. We know all those things. However, we don't know the number of cases because we can't track the number of cases. We can't test enough to locate all the cases. That will hopefully be improving, but no time soon. No time soon. On the political side of things, again, last week, or this week actually, 2.8 million people applied for unemployment in the last reported time. Okay, that number is going to be increasing. Okay. That was 2.8. That went off the Richter scale, basically. From all their past history for the last 15, 20 years, no one's ever seen that number of people in 1 week apply for unemployment. You can believe, without a doubt in the world, that number is going to be increasing. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that number is going to be increasing. The bailout, the rescue package, the $2.2 trillion, the largest financial stimulus package in U.S. history. The Senate already passed it. The House passed it today, even though there was some Republican representative, Tom Massey, for some unknown reason. Okay, he got a bug somewhere, and he was trying to hold it up. He wanted a full voice vote, and he's almost required. I think Nancy Pelosi got something around it, but if he had his way, he would have required more people, more representatives coming from their home states to get in to a small chamber, to get 400 people into a chamber, the House chamber, and vote for this. Quite happily, even they bypassed him some way, shape, or form, and this got done today. The president has already signed it, which is a real big deal. Now, because of that, again, I mentioned it yesterday, everybody is going to get a non-taxable direct payment. Individuals will be getting $1,200. Married filing joint, $2,400. Additional $500 for each kid. If you're head of household, you'll also be getting at least $1,200. Unemployment benefits are going to be extended, again, by 13 weeks. The first 4 months of that is going to be an extra $600 a week bump. Okay. Small businesses are getting $377 billion in loans, probably be forgiven if they keep their workers on. Big companies are getting over 550 thereabouts $billion in bailouts. There are some strings attached to that. $180 billion going to hospitals and healthcare systems, and $175 billion to states and local governments. Now, in order to get your direct payment from the government, it's really, really important. They want to get the money out. Okay, and it's not going to be enough, but they want to get the money out to individuals. In order to do that, the quickest way they figured to do that was based on your tax returns. So if you haven't filed your tax return yet for 2019, I know they're not due until July 15th. However, they're going to send money to the last known address that they have, and if you did your 2019 return, the last bank account, it's going to go there as a direct deposit. So whatever you do, make certain that your last filing status and your last mailing address are correct, if your 2018 return had your correct mailing address and your correct filing status with your direct deposit information, that'll be good. If not, if you were single in 18 and got married in 19, okay, you want to make certain you file your tax return as soon as possible. File it now, even if you have to file an amended return afterwards. File it now. If you are a senior citizen that doesn't normally file at all because you're under the income threshold, file it now anyway with your direct deposit information on the return. Most senior citizens tend to drop off after a while in the tax system because their income level is below reportable thresholds. But file your tax return now. Okay, do an amended return afterwards to fix whatever. I really don't care. File your tax return now and get the money. Okay. That money is still going to be 3 or 4 weeks out before it gets there. But if they've got that information, okay, you're going to be in line for the money quicker than anybody else. Now, they did one tax bill. They did this one relief bill. That's a real big deal. Believe me, it's screwed up. It really is screwed up. But they got a bill from nothing to signed by the president. A $2.2 trillion bill from nothing to signed by the president in under a week and a half, 2 weeks. That's a phenomenal job for the government. An absolutely phenomenal job for the government. It's a phenomenal job for anybody. So they got this done. In doing that, you can believe they bypassed a few things, they've overlooked some things, and there were some screw-ups in the bills. Once they get this thing out of the way, they're going to be looking at it to see what they missed, what needs to be adjusted, what bad things happen in the first one that they can fix in the second one. There's going to be at least a second one, probably a third, probably a fourth one after that. It looks as though this situation is not going to be clear, okay, in the next month or two. So you're looking at 4 to 8 weeks out from now, most likely. Even with the bill being signed, okay, you would have thought the stock market would have went up. But the markets are sort of strange. Anybody who's used to the markets understands it's a little thing that happens in the background. You buy on rumors, sell on news. So when the rumor was that these things were going to happen, the market went up for 3 days. It was lovely. As they're working on this bill, the market went up for 3 days. Everybody felt really good. It got signed. The market went down today. It went down 915 points. Again, the bottom is not there yet because the health situation is not there yet. Nobody can assess the economy, what businesses are going to be making. Again, the only reason to put your money in the market is to get a return in the future. You give the money, you buy your stocks, and you're hoping for a dividend sometime in the future, or some appreciation of the stock that you can sell sometime in the future. If you're uncertain as to getting a dividend of the stock appreciating, or even the company existing in the future, you don't put your money in the market. So as this continues, there's going to be more uncertainty in the market. It's going to go down a little bit further. I don't know how much further. Okay, the bottom is not there yet, but hang in there. We'll see what happens. Now, how does all this affect you? Your life has changed. Over the last month, your life has changed. People are getting locked in their houses, either by edict or by themselves. Okay. The chances of this returning to the old days, last year this time, last year in the summertime, not likely to happen. Your plan A crashed and burned. You would have never imagined that you would have been sidelined in the house and for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It could be 4 to 5 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks. We don't know just yet. But you really have to rethink your plan A at this point in time. Is your job still going to be there? Okay. What do you have to go back to? Okay. Where you are today is based on the decisions and actions that you made yesterday and the year before. So those things that you did reflexively, you thought were okay. And your tomorrow, your next year, is going to be based on the decisions that you make and the actions that you take today. So, you're stuck at home. You're not certain what happened with your job for your plan A. Okay, where are the jobs going to be in the future? What can you do that you don't need to put in 15 years in school for? Okay. What can you do? You don't need an advanced degree and years of training. Well, IT, programming, coding, electronics, online communications, those are the first things that come to mind. And they're going to be big. They're going to continue to be big. However, the healthcare field, a year, maybe 2 years worth of training, not too bad. Respiratory therapy, radiology tech, lab tech, a phlebotomist, the person who goes around draws of blood, really short training for that one. Trucking and delivery services have been big in the last couple of years, are critical now, and will continue to grow in the future. As everybody for the last 20 years has been saying, college, 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 get these advanced degrees and you get this giant big job, but a lot of these people are still working at Burger King and McDonald's. Okay, blue collar jobs, somebody still has to do them. There is still money there. Plumber, electrician, a painter, a home handyman. Okay, these are things that a short period of time you can get some type of training and either get a plan A job in that field or have it as your plan B backup and do it in addition to your plan A job. Now, there are jobs with lower skills, and jobs with lower skills get lower pay. You can generally get these jobs quicker, though. I mentioned them yesterday. Jobs in grocery stores, grocery store chains, Kroger, Costco, Safeway, Albertsons, they're all hiring right now. Amazon is reportedly hiring 100,000 new workers in its fulfillment centers. About 3-4 months ago, Amazon tries to capture everything. Amazon was shipping before. UPS and the post office. Amazon started doing their own delivery services. Well, they got some of their warehouse people and said, look, we'll set you up in your own business. You can deliver our stuff. I don't know what the details of that are, but they are doing that. And they will continue to do that. As you know, you can have your own business, have your own little delivery truck, and just deliver Amazon stuff. Okay? Not a bad business. Cleaning services. 75% increase in jobs listings for that, for janitors and cleaning services, according to ZipRecruiter. Now, that's big right now. Low skill job, not a lot of pay, but almost immediate work. Not that bad. Food delivery platforms, DoorDash, Postmates, and Grubhub. More things that you can do on the side. So you can have a plan A job and do this on the side. There are going to be a lot more on the side jobs in the future coming out of this than there were before. A lot of people were thinking about it before. It's going to be happening a lot more now. As people come out of this, they're going to see, okay, that didn't work real well for me. I need something else that I can control. And I'd mentioned before 10 key points to an ideal business. Okay. That's something that I'm going to include the link when I post this again in my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. What else is going on here? The census. It's a very temporary job. It's every 10 years it comes along. They won't last forever, but the U.S. government is still seeking census workers to go out and help people fill out census forms. If you're with me online, chances are you can do it online for yourself. And you should. If you haven't done it yet, you're home right now, fill out your census online, get that done. That's a really big deal. A lot of decisions are made based on the census. It's why they do an actual count every 10 years. What else is happening here? Long-term safety. Your financial safety and your long-term goals. Really critical, and you start to question those things at this moment in time. You know, what you thought was a stable existence is no longer stable. Things have changed a lot and they're not about to go back. So what do? Again, you had to rethink your plan A. If you haven't, you are rethinking it now. And plan B is something you need to work on. And again, what happened is everybody got shut down. Okay? They're at home now, at home with the kids. Okay? This is not what they intended to happen. People a year or 2 years ago were thinking, what can I do on my own? What business can I start on my own? Again, 10 key points to an ideal business. I'm going to have that link in here that's posted. You can take a peek at that. That'll give you some ideas. Okay? You need a plan B, something that you can control if something happens with your plan A. Now, I've been helping people with a plan B for a number of years now. You can go to drrousenow.com. My plan B, I show people how to retire in just 3 to 5 years, starting with as little as $10,000. It's not going to work for everybody, but for a lot of people, it does. Take a peek at it. See if it's of interest to you. If it is, schedule a call, and we can talk and see if it's going to work out for us or not. Okay. More and more cities and states have some form of stay-at-home order. That's going to continue. It's going to restrict your activities at some point in time. Doctors and healthcare workers are starting to test positive. Medical shortages are coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay. As there's fewer people in a medical situation, okay, you're going to see lines in hospitals. That poor hospital, Elmhurst in New York, people are lined up at 6 in the morning around the block waiting to try and get a test. It changed their lives. If you're trying to get testing, it's going to change your life too, because it's not that easy to get a test. Tests still are an exceptionally short supply. I said it yesterday, I said it the day before. Don't change your behavior to avoid infection. Assume you're already infected. Change your behavior to avoid transmission. It's really, really critical. Okay. Your status today in regards to your health and this infection situation is a direct result of what happened to you 2 and 3 weeks ago. What you do today and tomorrow is going to predict what happens to you 2 to 3 weeks from now. So assume everybody is infected. Okay? Assume yourself that you are infected, and really, really restrict your activities. Do the things you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Take personal responsibility. A lot of people are doing a phenomenal job at this. They really are. You got the occasional crazy out there, without doubt in the world. They're out there. They're purposely coughing on people. Okay, they're getting locked up. People like that are getting locked up, and they're going to get charged. But for the most part, people are acting exceptionally responsibly these days. Just make certain you're one of them. You're in the house. Tempers are going to start to flare. People weren't intended to be cooped up this much, this long, and it's just starting. It's not finished yet. So take a breather. I'm going to be posting some links of things to do to help you in these times. Again, those links are going to be posted with this video tomorrow on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. So take a peek at it there. Now, the nation is really coming together, and the norms that they once knew have been shattered. They've been absolutely shattered. But people are coming together in a phenomenal way. So check on your family and your neighbors and your friends. Again, the elderly are really, really isolated at this point in time. They were isolated before. They're even more so isolated at this point in time. My wife and her sister, okay, FaceTime their mom. Their mom is 78. Okay. FaceTime is great for Apple people, but they have other things, and I will track down a couple of those other services that you can FaceTime in a brand X situation instead of an Apple device, some other type of device. But you'll be able to FaceTime an elderly person, something that's simple that they can do. Okay. That's a great way of touching base with people and checking in on them, letting them know that you're there. They don't feel quite as isolated. My mother-in-law looks forward to her call at 5:30. She looks forward to that call. And your friends and relatives will also look forward to their calls with you. So keep doing those things. Everybody's going to get through this. life is not going to be the same, but we'll come out on the other side. If you've got young kids at home, Dr. Terry, my wife, is doing her bedtime reading at 7:30. She has a good time with that. The kids seem to enjoy that. Again, I'll be posting the links to this and a number of things that you can do on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor. And again, my goal here is to help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. So whatever I can do to that end, I'm very willing to do. Email me, private message me. I will address those questions and concerns in the next show. Again, I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, The Real Money Doctor, and I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Thank you.